Guys, I'm talking about Miller Harris today. Are you familiar with this house? This is a British house that I've known about for quite some time. I didn't really end up wearing their fragrances probably until like 4 or 5 years ago. And I've been a fan of what I'm experiencing, and I've got 11 fragrances here today that I'm going to talk to you about. And it includes the latest, at least as of the airing of this video. I think this is the latest release. This is a flanker to one of their more popular fragrances called Tonique. This is Tonique Extrait Parfum. So I don't have the original. I've never worn it, but really loving the new flanker in Extrait Parfum concentration. So I wanted to put together a video for you guys today, deep diving into 11 Miller Harris fragrances. So I actually have had a bottle of this fragrance for some time. This was the only thing that I've had up until about 5 years ago. This is Poirier d'un Soir, I think, like maybe Pair of the Night. That's kind of what it translates to, I think, to me. But the rest of the fragrances are fairly new and fairly newer launches, and we're going to break it all down. Before I do that, though, are you a fan of this house? What are your favorite fragrances of the house? Let me know if you have any history with the house, like if you've been buying them for years, because I know the brand's been around for a while. I believe Miller left from Miller Harris. I can't remember the backstory very well. I think she started in her own. No, I think the Harris left. I think it's Lynn Harris who left the brand and started her own brand. Is that correct? Yeah, I think it's Perfumer H is what started after Lynn Harris left. So I have one bottle that I bought in London. It's Rhubarb. But I believe she was part of this brand. And again, I don't really know the backstory too much, but I do enjoy some of their fragrances. I've got 3 perfumers here doing all of the fragrances. We've got Emilie Bouge, Matthew Nardin, Karine Vinchon-Spehner, although there's one more perfumer as well, which is Sidonie Lancesseur. It looks like the perfumers used to be all at Robertet. I think Matthew Nardin was part of Robertet's part of Man, but the rest of the perfumers seem like they are, although I'm not really familiar with where Emilie Bouge is. But I think there's a great collection of fragrances here. Do let me know what your thoughts are. Let's get started on the list of fragrances. We're doing this in alphabetical order. We're going to Black Datura from Miller Harris. And the brand has variations on their bottles, as you can see here. And this is the latest in Extrait Parfum. So there are different collections, it seems like. So this is Black Datura, created by Emilie Bouge. So Datura flower, is that what they're trying to recreate the smell of here? This is a floral ambery fragrance and also musky and slightly animalic. There's also peppery touches. And the fact that it features ambergris, so it does go a little on the animalic side. There's amber and resins in the base, including ambergris. So it's the combination of those. It comes off pretty spicy. It has a lily note. It has white flowers. And you can also smell the tuberose in here is so prominent. So all together creates this cocktail of white flowers with amber, resinous amber with an ambergris edge, and peppery spices and light traces of fruits. This isn't one of my all-time favorites from the house, but you might be into floral notes with amber and amber going in the ambergris direction. There's some funk here. It seems pretty dry though, and I am picking up quite a bit of lily, even though the tuberose is strong. Lilies to me also give me a little bit of a spicy edge. I almost feel like lilies have like a warm spice like cloves or maybe cinnamon or something, or a combo of the two. So I'm picking that up quite a bit here against the white floral notes of the tuberose. I mean, it's a pleasant scent. It's not my cup of tea. I enjoy it, but I'm not like all over it. But you might be into it. So check out Black Datura, Miller Harris. I will have as many of the fragrances timestamp tagged as well, and with the best prices I found online. So if you're in the market for any of these, you'll be able to buy them via YouTube shopping. So next we're going to talk about Celadon. Celadon is a fragrance I've spoken quite a bit about I really love this one. This is probably like from 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe. And if you're a fan of tomato leaves, this is one that you should definitely try, tomato leaves and fragrances. This is created by Karine Vinchon-Spehner. It's a very fresh green offering. It also has mate in it, so it comes off a little grassy and tea-like. So it's the tomato leaves with the greenness of the mate. There's musk in here. There's mossy notes, a little floral touches, some aromatic notes. I think if you like fragrances like L'Ombre dans l'eau, Synthetic Jungle, Malamata, this is something you would enjoy quite a bit. Just keeping in mind the tomato leaves note does stand out, but it's so good. The only thing with this one is also wear it in the warmest days because it is on the fresh side. So the freshness, is what you need when it's super hot. And it smells great. It's green, it's floral, it's fresh, it's tea. You definitely pick up the tea. And it's prominent here, totally prominent. But this is so good. One of my favorites from the house, Celadon. Let me know if you're a fan of it. I've spoken about this one quite a bit. I really, really enjoy that one. And you guys should get your nose on it, especially if you like my taste in green fragrances, green fresh fragrances, tea fragrances, and things like that. So next we're talking about Hydra Figue. This is a fragrance created by Emilie Bouge once again. Now, Emilie Bouge, I think, was part of, or she created a lot of fragrances for the house of Brecourt Paris. And there's a fragrance that they had when I first bought my bottle of the very first fragrance from the house called Haram, Haram. I bought that fragrance. It was kind of sort of similar to Wajan. And later it was renamed from Haram to Farah. So they retitled that Farah. I think the brand's still around. Probably Farah is still their most popular, but I don't know what's going on with the brand personally. And that's where I first discovered the brand and the perfumer Emilie Bouge. But recently she also did a fragrance for Trudon called Carmen. Really great fragrance. And she's done quite a few fragrances here for Miller Harris as well. One of them is Hydra Figue. We're talking about Hydra Figue now. This is a Emilie Bouge creation. This is, I think, kind of taking the fig into Greek territory because it has the Ouzo note. So it kind of has that anisic quality, but I wouldn't say it's super strong. It's there, but I think it's pretty faint against the fig, and it's almost like a fusion of fig leaves and fig fruit here. And then there's a lot of sea salt, so it adds kind of a marine edge in addition to the sea notes that are in here. There's sea salt here, so it's kind of salty. It tones down the sweetness, but you have spices like ginger, woods like sandalwood, and just a great cornucopia of notes to create a fig fragrance that's, I think, personally inspired by Greece and the freshness near the coast of the Mediterranean. So if you like the idea of fig, you want it salty, you want it not so super green or fruity, because this is green and fruity at the same time. So it's almost like it crosses itself out. So you have a nice meshing of the two. And so it's a nice scent. It's just keep in mind, it's salty, it's marine, it's a little spicy, and it's got that light kick of the Ouzo note that's in here as well. We actually featured this in a mystery box several mystery boxes ago. It's Hydra Figue from the House of Miller Harris. Let me know your thoughts on Hydra Figue. Next, we're going to a fragrance called Legato. This is it right here. Are you familiar with Legato? This is a Matthew Nardin creation, and he's done quite a few fragrances here for the House of Miller Harris. I originally thought that he created Tonique, but this is Emilie Bouge, it says. Maybe the information is wrong. So Legato is also, to me, it's almost like a offspring of Soufflot, which is also a creation by Matthew Nardin. Legato is a gourmand with cherries, and it's not your typical lost cherry effect. The cherries are here, it's slightly boozy, but what I like in Soufflot is the butteriness. And I almost get that here as well. But the fact that it has cherries and a little booziness, it's going in a different direction. But I feel like Soufflot and Legato are like relatives. They're related because the DNA smells very, very similar to me. It's got this kind of a buttery patisserie texture. But this particular one, Legato, is more like fruit forward, cherries, and not like fresh and all. It's kind of more of a dense fruit. It also has plums. There's vanilla here, of course, ambery notes, musk, and a few other like sandalwood and woods and things like that. But it's really wonderful. It's a warm, spicy, kind of a cozy offering, perfect for like cold autumn nights and cold winter days. But, you know, you've got that kind of buttery gourmand thing happening here. I would also say I think there might be some balsamic notes in this. They mention there's a major like syrupy, buttery textured consistency in this, which is quite yummy. So that's Legato from Miller Harris. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. All right, next we're going to talk about Melody. So let me know if you're familiar with any of the fragrances we've spoken about so far. This is a Sidonie Lancestor fragrance, and Sidonie Lancestor and Karine Vinchon-Spehner are both Robertet perfumers. So that's why I feel like maybe Matthew Nardin was Robertet before. Was Emilie Bouge a Robertet perfumer? If you guys don't know what Robertet is, it's a fragrance house like Firmenich, Givaudan, IFF, things like this, but it's a much smaller scale, perfume house. So Melody, I don't know what it is about Melody, but it reminds me of violets, and there's no mention of violets in the notes. It's rose, lavender, there's bergamot here, there's some black currant, tea. I don't know why, but I'm seeing tea come up quite a bit, or tea-like notes come up quite a bit in the fragrances of Miller Harris. But it's kind of a soft, sweet, violet-like fragrance. There's musky notes, there's rose, there's lavender. I don't know, I'm having a little bit of a difficult time characterizing this fragrance because as soon as I smell it, I smell violets, but then I see the notes break down and I don't see violets whatsoever. It's powdery to me. It's just almost like violet candy. Very interesting fragrance. Melody. So are they referring to a woman's name or something different? Music. But no, I like the way it smells. It's not like a super love, but it's kind of mysterious to me. Like, makes me want to smell it and figure it out because I'm having a bit of a challenge figuring this one out because my nose is tricked to smelling violets, which is really interesting. Let me know if you guys get that with Melody. Add a comment below. All right, next up we've got Mineir. I think that's how you say it. Mineir is a strange fragrance, I have to be honest. It's an Emilie Bouge creation once again. It's eucalyptus. There's an air accord. There's mint. There's sea salt, mossy notes, papyrus, green grass. Actually, I thought that it might be kind of weird, but it's not. It's almost like a European mountain forest with green vegetation and maybe like flowers growing in meadows and fields and things like that while you're picking up the air. That's kind of what it reminds me of smelling. So it's quite green. It's a bit camphor. Eucalyptus always goes camphor, but I wouldn't say it's super sharp. There is that sea salt note, which I think it cuts away the sweetness if there is any sweetness in here. I think the mint also doesn't stand out as much as the eucalyptus. So it's a lot of woods, A lot of green notes, aromatics, with some light hints of white flowers. And of course, that's sea salt. Very, very interesting fragrance. Again, it gives me the idea. I don't know what it is about the Sound of Music where she was on the hill, but a bit more like a landscape like that, but more closer to big trees. And the trees are the eucalyptus trees. So this is kind of what I'm envisioning with this fragrance. And you've got like a field or meadow of flowers. And maybe there's a lake. Not that lakes are salty, but there is a little bit of a saltiness in this. Very interesting. So that is Mineir. All right, the next one is the fragrance that I've owned the longest from the house. And it's one of the older fragrances I'm talking about. I think this launched in 2015. This is Poirier d'un Soir. So I think Poir is pear, right? Yeah, I think it is. So they're talking about dark pear. This is a Matthew Nardin creation. So this is almost like, do you know the fragrance Kunamo from the house of Jeroboam? This is kind of a more darker take on pear, where it's juicy and fruity, but they've removed or stripped away the sweetness. So it's a little bit boozy, quite fruity, and also a little bit spicy. Because it has birch, creates a light like smokiness or something. Yeah, it's not as juicy or fruit forward as Kunamo is, but I feel like they could be distantly related. But definitely more in the darker area of fruitiness. I think the name makes sense. Soir, dark night, evening. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Again, I have everything as much as I can timestamp tagged to the best deals online. If you're in the market for any of these fragrances, you can buy them. So let's move on to another fragrance from the house of Miller Harris. This is it Scherzo or Scherzo? This is also a Matthew Nardin creation. He does do quite a bit of good work. I like his fragrances quite a bit, actually. Like Soufflot here is really great. The Legato is great. He's done fragrances for Reine de Saba, which I really love. Let's talk about Scherzo. So this is Oud. Oud Accord. It's a bit smoky. There's a lot of earthy patchouli here. It's slightly sweet. To me, it kind of reminds me of a less creamy Delina with a lot of patchouli and oud. Yeah, the patchouli and oud are like pretty prominent. It's almost like they're the main stars, not the peony and the rose that's in here. It is sweetening up. The vanilla is kind of kicking in, and it's on the smoky side as well. That's actually quite good. It's oud and patchouli, but it also doesn't act dense. There's an airiness about it. So if you're challenged by really dense, heavy fragrances, but you want to do oud and rose, you'd kind of enjoy this one if you like the way it smells. I like how the rose and the peony always complement one another. It's almost like rose is like the really fragrant flower, and then the peony is kind of almost like an afterthought. But when you add it to the rose, it does kind of boost it up and enhance it. This is a Western oud. It's most likely an accord, so it's not anything overly animalic or funky, but depends on how much you can tolerate oudy notes or Western oudy notes or accords. But I quite like that one. Scherzo. Which way is it? Scherzo or Scherzo? I think it's Scherzo. Anyway, that is the 8th fragrance from Miller Harris. All right, we're talking about Staccato next. This is Karine Vinchon-Spehner. She's a Robertet perfumer. And this is a smoky, leathery tobacco, so quite masculine. I think also Mineir is very masculine as well. I feel like Scherzo, it has a lot of oud. It's very unisex, I think. It's kind of balanced out. Melody, maybe leaning on the feminine side. Legato with the cherries, I think feminine side, but they're unisex. This tobacco and leather is a little bit on the animalic side. There's also warm spices and fresh spices like cinnamon and ginger. And there's a little bit of a sweetened honey. I feel like the leather is providing, well, it's actually Cade as well. Cade goes leathery and smoky. So this is on the very smoky side, but also it's kind of like trying to balance out the smoky dark side with the leather and tobacco, and the Cade with a bit of a more warmer and sweeter side of the spices like cinnamon and honey. There's honey here as well. There's ambery notes in the base, like benzoin, so it does get ambery. It sweetens up. If you like the idea of a very smoky, leathery, masculine take on tobacco, then you should definitely try this one. I wouldn't say this is sweeter like tobacco vanille or tobacco honey from the House of Guerlain, but this does sweeten up when it's drying down. Just be aware. But the smoke is pretty strong when you first spray it. It's quite smoky and dark with the tobacco, the smoky notes, and the leather. So that is Staccato. All right, my favorite two are my favorite three. The first one, first of my favorites was Staccato at the very beginning of the video. And then these last two fragrances are also my favorites from the bunch. And Soufflot is really, really awesome, created by Matthew Nardin. And I'm forgetting the name of the fragrance it reminds me of that he did for Reine de Saba. I'm going to pause the video here and come back and let you guys know. Okay, so Matthew Nardin did a fragrance for Reine de Saba called Divine Temptation, as you can see right here. So I feel like they're connected, but Divine Temptation doesn't have that buttery texture that I get from Soufflot. Soufflot is quite buttery. It's a gourmand. It's almost like a patisserie buttery doughiness, but there's not mention of those kind of notes here. It's chestnuts and hazelnuts, along with honey, Peru balsam. There's a little bit of tobacco, cinnamon. It's warm. And then you've got ambery notes like benzoin and labdanum. So Soufflot, if you like the idea of a butter, like this morning I just had croissants. And as soon as I smell it, the buttery, flaky texture is what I get with this one from Miller Harris, Soufflot. It just gives me that kind of a buttery texture, almost like a brioche, if that makes a bit more sense. Because I find, I think croissants are also quite buttery, but I don't get the flakiness from this. I just get the butter. So I think a brioche is less flaky. But it's so delicious, so yummy. You got to try it. The tobacco is in here. I think it's just to contrast. It's not to really smell like a tobacco fragrance. But if you like buttery patisserie kind of fragrances, check that out. And the difference between Soufflot and Divine Temptation, I think Divine Temptation doesn't have that buttery texture. It also goes boozy. So it's boozy, whereas with Soufflot, I don't get the booziness. And so they are different, but I feel like you can tell a certain style with this perfumer. Yeah, Divine Temptation is super boozy and tobacco. Definitely doesn't have the buttery texture. Doesn't have that patisserie, texture. Both are really good though, and going in different directions. If you like more of a boozy, you definitely have to try Divine Temptation. It's super good. It's so good. Really, really awesome. And then if you want more of that buttery texture, like steamy, kind of just pulled out of the oven croissants without the flakiness, or like something like a brioche bread, definitely try this because it's so yummy, super delicious. So that is Soufflot, and compared to Divine Temptation. And last but not least, the latest release, it's Tonique. So I'm not familiar with the original Tonique, and I have a feeling the Tonique is probably the most popular fragrance from the house. That's why I think this is their first Extrait de Parfum, right? Anybody that's kept up with the brand, let me know. This is really one of the best tea fragrances. What I like about it, it reminds me of other tea fragrances, but there's something in the base that has this creamy, soft, pillowy kind of texture that adds this super cozy factor about it. But in the end, it's like a familiar smell. Again, I can't compare it to the original, unfortunately, because I don't have it. But I've sampled it in passing, but I just don't remember it. But if I recall, it didn't have that creamy texture that's in the base. But this is Emilie Bouge. I originally thought that Matthew Nardin created the original, but I'm not 100% sure. But this is fresh. It's green. It's citrusy. But it has like multiple varieties of tea here. A little bit grassy. Very aromatic. Nicely done. Really, really nicely done. It's long lasting as well, but this is not super beast mode. Just tea fragrances. I haven't found a super beast mode tea fragrance. But as far as the smell goes, this is lovely. There is a little bit of a slight smokiness in here as well, just because it's a given that tea can go smoky. It doesn't get in the way, I should say. The smokiness is there. It's to add that depth to a fragrance that's supposed to be about tea, but like I said, it does not get in the way. It's just a really nice amount of smoke that it's perfect here. Yeah, so if I had to rank the list now, here's how it would be. Tonique is number 1. Soufflot is number 2. Celadon is number 3. Legato is number 4. Where do we put at number? Scherzo is number 5. I'm still getting violets from Melody. I would put Poirier Staccato at number 6. Poirier Don Soir at number... Well, no, Hydra Figue at number 7. Actually, no. Hydra Figue at number 6. Staccato at number 7. Poirier Don Soir at number 8. And then Mineir is at number 9. Melody is at number 10. And then we've got Black Datura at number 11. So that's all I have here from this house. Only 11 fragrances. What classic fragrances should I check out? I know they have a tobacco fragrance that's also probably pretty popular. I have a feeling they might make a extract of that. Who knows? I think with a lot of brands are doing that nowadays. They're making extrait de parfums or different concentrations of their fragrances because they're popular and they want to kind of satisfy fans and, of course, create something that people really enjoy. So this is, I think the tobacco might be next, but let me know your thoughts. If you know the brand, have you tried their tobacco? Is there anything else from the brand that you recommend? And from the fragrances that I spoke about today, which are your favorites? Which do you like? Which do you hate? And which one are you going to try and get your nose on and, you know, find and smell? I wish more retailers sold the brand. I don't see them. I think they're on Neiman Marcus, and there's probably some of these at discounters as well. And again, as I said, I will tag as many of these as I can if I find them online, and I'll tag the best prices so that if you're in the market for any of these, you can by timestamp, shop by timestamp via YouTube shopping. But yeah, I think if you can get your nose on Tonique Extrait de Parfum. It's so good. You should definitely get your nose on Soufflot as well, and Celadon. Those are my top 3, and I think they're totally worth checking out if you can get your hands on these fragrances. But thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like the video and share it. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Please do interact with the video. That helps with the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel as well so that you'll be notified for future videos. See you guys later. Bye-bye.